Hey, welcome back. So this video is a group of us getting out for a ride, and the ride that we end up doing, other than a little bit of new trail that you're about to see here, but the ride we end up doing is the ride that would have been the finishing part of the Northside Slip and Slide, which was the inaugural Struggle Bunny Invitational. So what you're going to see is a very quick cut of what we did ride, and then I'll spend more time on what we didn't ride. So this stuff that we're on right now, this is some new stuff that Lance cut in the past week or so, and I'm going to show it, none of it to you, just what you saw. You'll have to wait. But like I said, I'm going to spend only a couple minutes here on the Brookside and McLeod Hill portions, because everyone that came out for the Northside Slip and Slide saw all of that. They got to ride it before we had some bike problems. But what we didn't see and what we didn't get to show everybody that we wanted to show them was everything over on Cloddy Road. So we're going to get there in a second, cross the river, and ride most, but not all, of what we intended to ride that day. Head down to the river, cross over to what we call Cloddy Road, well, the Cloddy Road trails. I think I mentioned it already, the tune now is super nice. Smooth. Receptive. Alright, I'm rambling there about we're headed over to the Cloddy Road system of trails, so we gotta cross the river, which is coming up right here. And then I'm also talking about the new tune in my bike. So when I had issues with my bike the other week, it turned out to be a clogged fuel filter. I think I mentioned that in a previous video. That was an easy fix. And then Toys did an update on my tune, which seems to have moved that bit of a hit that you get more to the upper mid-range and not in the lower mid-range. Don't like it. Nope, I don't like it. It's still pretty cold. Not like it was today. We were out riding today and it was 10 or 11 degrees. Perfect. But it's a bit cold here today, so the sticks do hurt when they whip you. So all of this network here is what we wanted to show everyone. Some fast double track, then dipping into some single track and some new areas that we cut over this year. Okay. That was ate a lot of shit on that one. I'll have to thank Corey for that, but I also have to thank him for the spark plug that's in my bike. When my bike broke down or wouldn't start, we were checking over all the systems and he happened to have a spare spark plug, so we pulled mine out and put his in. His was brand new and mine was 55 hours old. Somewhere in the mix there, he didn't get his new spark plug back because that wasn't the problem. It's still in my bike, so Corey, I owe you a new spark plug. Nice one. This little section here we call Outhouse. And it's not because it's a shitty trail, it's just that there's an outhouse at the top of it, so it makes me a little suspicious about this mud. And because I'm suspicious of it, I'm going to be careful not to get too close behind Corey and get a face full of it. That said, the outhouse that you can see directly in front of us probably hasn't been used in 20 or 30 years, so we're probably okay. There you go, skate the bike sideways a little bit, but let's get off this double track. We're going to dive into some single track that's going to take us over to what we call horse loop. We're going to skip over Noli Nelly, and eventually we're going to hit some grass track, which we're going to do a couple loops, and that's going to be kind of fun. Unfortunately, the guys weren't close enough to Lance up front on his IT, so they missed this little section here. This is the new stuff that we, I think John found this for us, and we opened it up a little bit. We just gotta do a little bit more here, but this is fun. And that's okay, because they're gonna circle back and they're gonna come back up this little trail here, so they do get to try it out. Right up here where Lance is, just to the left, is another section of trail we cut off a horse loop that brings us back up here. So we're kind of expanding in here, and we got a pretty good network. And this is the little expansion that comes off of Horse Loop and takes us around kind of where we were, where I pointed out Lance. But we're going to skip that part and come back to Horse Loop and do some hill climbs. Corey's running that Starcross 6, which is definitely not a Woods tire, as I found out this summer when I tried one out. Still have it. It's not a bad tire, it's just not going to do particularly well where there's roots and wet rocks. And most other stuff, hard pack and mud, probably does quite well there. But that's okay. Corey's got some new tires on order, and I think he's going to switch over to Moose as well.
Lance is going to go here, just got to switch back at the top. Colin's going to hit this other one here. And that one's hard because you come up a good lift, you got to cut throttle, veer left, hard right, and there's a big fucking rock there, so if you don't have enough speed to go high line over the rock,
flapping my arms around is probably not particularly useful, so let me just show you what I was talking about. I got some more video of the guys coming up, so you'll have a better sense of how steep that is. It's not crazy steep, but it's pretty steep.
Well, taking that one root out made a big difference.
Yeah, you had her down. Yeah, you crawled up there. Now you gotta come wide. Yeah, just have the momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. At some point, maybe we should push that bank down a bit more so you can come higher.
Yeah, or even cut that little tree out.
So this was Jacob's run up the hill, and I think just below where Corey's standing in orange, where that rock is where he got hung up. And you'll see it better here as Colin comes up next.
Oh.
So that's the line that you need to get around that rock just a little bit higher. And what I was saying is push that bank down so you can kind of rail it without having to dab, and then you can just ride through. This is some new trail that's going to take us onto some, probably what were old skidder tracks at one time. Off to the left there is a big gravel pit, so that's kind of the extent of the boundaries that we can cut into. We don't go over there, but everything over here is pretty good. Eventually this will probably turn into gravel pit as well, but in the interim, we're going to use it. Right here, Colin was behind me, and I have to say, I was pretty tempted. Pretty tempted. Alright, let's rip some laps on our grass track. We found this little section here and we were pretty quick to burn in a track. It's nothing crazy, but it's enough to get you kind of pumped up and having a little fun. Alright, time to throw the proverbial keys to Lance and get him to put a couple laps on my bike and see what he thinks about it.
Sell me on that KTM, dude. Sell me on it.
And what I think he would say is that I really like the electric start. Sorry, buddy. The other thing I think is that the suspension's really good, motor's great. It's linear. It doesn't have that hit that you get off of the motocross bike that he's going to try next. And that's something that, I don't know, the jury's out. The new tune just kind of flattened things out. It's still big and fat and torquey and it's got lots of power, but I miss kind of that lower mid-range hit.
There he goes. Give her some bark. Oh!
So it is cold enough today that when Colin clipped a tree, he busted his handguard.
Yeah. That's more like it.
Alright, jump back on my bike, put in a couple more laps, but that pretty much brings us to the end of the video here. There's a lot more of riding that we do today, but it's mostly working our way back over McLeod Hill and onto Brookside and then back to the house. I do have another video in the pipe from yesterday's ride, and that was a good ride. We had a group of about 8 of us, and we went to Goshen, and we were ripping on the single track, and we were setting down a pretty good pace. I won't say we were fast, not like, I don't know, Dodge Demon fast, but sort of like tuned Honda Civic fast. I can hear Lance coming. He's going to put some pressure on my back wheel and ultimately take me in one of these corners. Well, that about brings us to the end of this video. Next one should be up next week, and that'll be the ride that I just mentioned of the group of us that were ripping in Goshen. So hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll get a couple more out before the end of the year.